deep dive, taking a closer look.
What are we taking a closer look at today?
What are we? We're gonna closer look. And since the first one did so well, let's go ahead and do Rambo First Blood Part 2.
Oh man, my favorite.
Your favorite of the 500 that came out? It's okay. It's definitely better than the third one, and we'll get to the third one later, obviously. The original to me is still the best. But anyway,
yeah.
So let's just dive right into the second one. It's I think it said in the clip notes, it's like, 6 months after?
Oh, it was longer than that. It was like 3 or 4 years.
I didn't know it was that long. Because I think he was only supposed to be in there 5 years or something.
Yeah, I thought it was at least a couple of years.
I don't know. Anyway, so it starts out, where all these rocks are, and these prisoners are working with the guards watching them. Well,
yeah.
Centers in on our main character here, John Rambo again. Here's a little bit longer this time, and they call him because he's got a visitor.
Rambo! Let's go.
And for the credit, our Mr. Colonel Troutman. Well, yeah, sit there.
Yeah.
And so he's talking to him.
How are you, Johnny?
Good.
That's all. John, I'm sorry they sent you to such a hellhole.
I've seen worse.
Yeah, you have, haven't you? John, I told you that I'd help you when I could. You interested?
I have a mission for you, and Rambo's a little hesitant at first.
You can't possibly want to stay here for another 5 years.
In here, at least I know where I stand.
Yeah. So, but he tells him, hear me out.
First.
It's basically a recon mission.
The covert operation's being geared up in the Far East. Your name was dug out by the computer as one of 3 most able to complete the mission.
Mission?
Recon for POWs in Nam.
Still a lot of POWs missing.
And that's true to life, man.
Why not?
Yeah. I think it's still true to this day, honestly. I don't think they found everybody.
Prison camp you escaped from at 71's a target area. Nobody knows that terrain better than you do. The risk factor is very high. You'd be temporarily reinstated in the forces, and if the mission's successful, there may be a presidential pardon. You interested?
Yeah.
Good.
A lot of it, again, is due to the POWs, man. It's like camaraderie, man.
It's probably pulling on his heart a little bit.
Absolutely.
So you get the beginning credits with that great, almost like the snake sound or whatever.
Sir, do we get to win this time?
This time it's up to you.
The rattle, man.
Yeah. So the next scene, he's in Vietnam, lands with Martin Cove.
Well, yeah, Martin Cove
greets him. They take him inside, and he gets to meet probably, I guess you'd say, one of the main antagonists of the film.
Charles Napier, man.
Yeah, that guy, whoever he is. Anyway, he's sort of heading the mission. I guess you'd say he's like a senator. I don't even think that. He's just put in charge from Washington, and he feels like it's just a smoke screen.
It's just a recon mission. Yeah. You're not going in there to.
You're not stirring anything up. And really, we don't expect or want you to find anything.
Yeah, and he's a by the book guy. He's one of those typical scumbag sleazebags, And his right-hand man, of course, is Martin Cove, and then he has Andy Wood.
Yeah, whoever that guy is too. But anyway, so they basically give him the outline of the mission.
Rambo, you're probably aware that there's almost 2,500 Americans still missing in action in Southeast Asia. Now, most of these boys are presumed killed, but to the League of Families, Congress, and lots of Americans, it's still a very emotional issue. Rest assured, we'll get our men back. Now, if there's any of our men at this POW target camp, you're to confirm their presence by taking photographs.
Photographs?
Just photographs. Under no circumstances are you to engage the enemy.
And like, this is what it is, and even kind of tells them, like, you're going to take photographs. And Rams, what do you mean photographs?
Yeah.
You don't engage the enemy.
I'm supposed to leave him there?
I repeat, do not engage the enemy.
So they said basically we're going to meet up later and discuss the terms of the mission. So they do meet up later, and they're talking about all this technology that he's going to have. And
You may find this hard to believe, but all this is for you.
Impressed?
Rambo doesn't seem that thrilled about it.
I've always believed that the mind is the best weapon.
Times change.
For some people.
So
All he needs is a knife and a
all
compass.
this, yeah. So they, what Jen Troutman says something too, like,
Pressure. Let me just say that Rambo is the best combat vet I've ever seen. A pure fighting machine with only a desire to win a war that someone else lost. And if winning means he has to die, he'll die. No fear, no regrets. And one more thing. What you choose to call hell, he calls home.
so they're gearing up to take him, you know, to the drop zone, and as you see that when he's sharpening his knife, which you can tell is noticeably bigger than in the first one, and you can tell in the third one it's bigger, but again, we'll get to that later. So he's loading all this stuff up, he's the camera loaded up, and all this stuff, and he walks out there with Troutman. Just do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, well, they tried to load him up like 007 is what it
Yeah,
comes down to.
basically. It's way too much stuff. But anyway, so they get him on the plane, and they're flying over the air, and they're like, oh, let's get ready to drop. So he's waiting to drop. Goes. Well,
It's got to go wrong,
it's
man.
got to go wrong. He gets hung up. He's all hung up on the plane. He's being dragged. Oh, aboard the mission. No, we can't. So he starts cutting away all the technology.
Yeah,
Cuts everything out.
You know,
So he didn't even get to use this
there
stuff.
goes 10 minutes of the film, just it stops like that.
Yeah, we're not using that. We're getting rid of it. So he finally, like, you would think you would cut the one thing away. Instead, he cuts everything away. Finally gets loose.
Copy, leader. This is Dragonfly 1. You read? Over.
Dragonfly 1, come in, I read you.
Any visual bearings by flares?
Negative. We didn't see anything.
Drops off. The senator already says we need to go ahead and cancel. He said, well, we can't cancel it. Let's just go through and see what happens.
Yeah.
So Rambo's trying to make it to extraction point. He gets there, meets his contact, which turns out to be a female. And the only other thing I've seen her in is Sidekicks with Chuck Norris.
She'd done some, I mean, this is one of those films that sort of put her on the map.
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah, she did good.
Did not expect a woman, no.
We better go.
We go to river. How come you so late?
Got hung up.
So they take a pirate boat up the river.
Yeah.
She says it's the best way to go. And of course, there's a great scene. They're talking back and forth. She's talking about like what happened.
How can you get into this?
It's a long story.
Long ride.
Well, after I left the Special Forces, I moved around a lot.
Why you leave Army?
I came back to the States and found there was another war going on.
Yeah.
And of course, you get that great line, which I guess he took for his future film.
Expendable. What mean expendable?
It's like if someone invites you to a party and you don't show up. Doesn't really matter.
It's just like, what do you say? I'm expendable.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they get to the place, they get to the camp, and at first it looks desolate. It does look empty.
Yeah.
And they're looking around, and he doesn't even have the camera anymore. Gets his world famous bow ready, and he gets there, and obviously there are still people, it's still an active camp.
Yeah, I think there were about 5 or 6 of them.
Oh, there looked like there were more than that.
Was it?
Yeah. So, he ends up getting to the side of the camp where it looks like there's basically a prison cell made out of bamboo.
Yeah.
Goes up there, and there's a ton of prisoners of war still there. Malnourished, not taken care of.
I think the rats, of course, were there, in the cages and all that.
They don't look healthy.
No.
Well, there's another guy that's basically hung up on 2 pieces of bamboo.
Yeah.
So he cuts him out, and he says, I'm going to get you out of here. Gets him out of there. Yeah, very malnourished. Has a little run-in with a couple of the guys.
I think is at this point that the Vietnamese general or captain knows, because
Not yet.
Okay.
Now, he heard something, I think at one point he comes out of his shack.
Yeah.
But then he goes back in. Well, so they're getting away.
Let's go.
Well, that's when they do find their a couple of dead guards. So they're like, hey, we got to find them. And there's a scene too where he's talking about, hey, the prisoner of war says something like, they move us around a lot. We got to harvest crop. And he said, when's the last time you were at that camp? He's like, a year. And he said, what year is it? He's like, 1985. And you can tell he's like, God, it's been that long.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get him to the extraction point.
And they send half the Vietnamese army.
Yeah. She's getting to the extraction point. They're on his tail.
That's Rambo! Christ, he's found one.
Shooting at him. He's shooting back. They're coming on the helicopter. Martin Code, the other guy, and Troutman. And they're right there. Well, they radio back to the center. Hey, they found somebody.
Mr. Murdoch, Dragonfly reports the ground crew has what appears to be an American POW with him.
What did you say?
They've got one of ours.
Well, he aborts the mission, tells them don't pick him up. Leaves him there. Like, they're right there, and they leave him there.
I'm telling you to abort.
Colonel! I've been ordered to abort before pickup. Murdoch! Murdoch, for Christ's sake, we've got him in sight! Murdoch, you read!
Yeah, because this whole thing was, like you said, it was a smokescreen. All it was to do is to quiet or quell the public at that time wondering about the POWs.
Pretty much. So, yeah, they leave Rambo there. He surrenders. So when they get back, he gets to a back and forth with the guy.
Yeah.
Basically tells him, like, if your soldier had done what he was supposed to do, he was only supposed to take pictures. Well, what happens if we would have taken those pictures? They would have just gotten lost.
That's it. And that's all these guys are about.
So, and in the next scene, Rambo is in this mud pit with leeches.
Yep.
Where the pig's waste is going.
Yeah.
And the Russians show up.
Oh, Steven Burkoff, man.
Which is kind of a curveball. Yeah, and that guy, he was the bad guy in Beverly Hills Cop. But it's kind of like, what are the Russians doing there? So they pick him up, and some like, I don't know your name yet, but I will. So they get him cleaned up.
These people are so vulgar in their methods. They lack compassion. I am Lieutenant Colonel Protovsky. I do not know who you are yet, but I will.
Next scene, they bring him into this bamboo tent or whatever, and they basically want him to call his superiors.
Right.
And I forget what he wants them to tell him, but he said, "You tell him this," and
well, that they've got him hostage.
Yeah,
and I guess that we're trying to get some.
Of course, Rambo's reaction is not so nice.
Yeah.
Whether you want to test your pain.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So they have him up against this, or tied up to a metal bed frame. It's just metal.
Yeah.
And they're basically electrocuting him.
Yeah.
And they're doing it, and they're doing it. Well, finally, they share a piece of information.
Comrade, here is something that might be of interest to you. A transcript of the conversation between your helicopter pilot and his commander. We intercepted. We have them in sight. And the reply, abort the operation immediately. This is a recall. Confirmed.
That they intercepted that. They left him there.
And these are the people you protect with your pain. Zarisky Zvolich.
And then so you can scream. There's no shame. And of course she screams after that. Well, they keep doing it. Well, finally, I guess they give up and they pull in the guy that Rambo was trying to save. And they got him there. Well, his knife was in the fire. Well, pulls it out. They cut Rambo's face.
Yeah.
And he doesn't budge still. And then he finally goes, put it in his eye.
That he can't.
And everybody says, he'll talk. Finally, he shakes head, he'll talk. So they put him in front of the radio.
Do it now.
To call. And so he calls, and Troutman is talking to him first.
Johnny, this is Troutman. Where the hell are you?
And they're like, tell us where you're at. And he doesn't want to say.
Yeah.
And they're like, you need to tell him or you both die. So that's when
Murdoch. He's here.
Yeah, put Murdoch on the phone.
We're glad you're alive. Where are you? Give us your position and we'll come to pick you up.
Murdoch. I'm coming to get you.
Yeah. Then there's a big fight scene. Gets away. The girl shows back up.
Julia Nixon shows back up, but I think, in the course of things, but the captain of the Vietnamese, the army or the platoon, that's George Chiang. That's the guy who pursues him.
Yeah. And he pursues him again.
Yeah.
So they get away, but this time it's just Rambo and the girl.
Right.
He doesn't take anybody. And they're hiding. They think they've kind of gotten away, I guess. And he's got a cut on his hand or something. She fixes his hand, and they have a moment together.
You take me with you?
And god dang it, wouldn't you know it, is right after that.
Yep. It's got to be, man.
Yeah. Rambo, you know, and has a moment with her.
You're right. You're right.
Rambo,
Yeah. Yeah.
you not forget me.
No. No. No.
And so he buries her. Of course, this connoisseur has to put his bandana back on. And then it's a whole segment like in the first one where he's kind of cat and mouse hiding, takes these guys out sort of one by one. Some of them are comical, some of them are not. Then it comes down to the one guy, the colonel.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got the explosive tip arrow, man, and he's cooking it, you know.
Yeah, well then, God, man, and then there's this whole scene where he's taking on the whole Vietnamese army.
Yeah, man.
Blowing up everything. I mean, Jesus Christ, is there anything left?
There was parody in UHF with Weird Al Yankovic.
And Kramer.
Yeah.
But anyway, so jump into the helicopter, fights them off, goes back and just destroys the whole camp. Just takes it all at one point. Gets all the POWs on the plane. Takes off, but he's being chased by a big helicopter by the Russians.
Stephen Burkoff. He's got a heck of a nice one too. It's pretty well upgraded.
It's a lot better than he's got no gun. But anyway, he does shoot, and he's like, "We're going down." Well, he's in landing, but it looks like a soft landing on this water.
Yeah.
Waits for what's his name to show right up there, and then shoots him with a grenade launcher. But whatever, it worked. Gets him back, you know, saves everybody. Gets his M60. Just destroys that whole technology thing, then goes in there and they go, "Oh, I was just doing my job, blah, blah, blah." And I just love that where he grabs him.
Mission accomplished.
You know there are more out there. Find them, or I'm going to find you.
Dude, that scene makes me choke up, man.
Yeah.
So you know there are more out there.
Yeah. And then goes out there, what, Troutman says something like,
Where are you going? Neither know. You got second medal of honor for this.
Should give it to them.
Yep.
You know, he's talking back and forth, and I love that. He's like, "Don't hate your country," and he's like,
Hey, I die for it.
And what is it you want?
I want what they want.
And every other guy who came over here and spilt his guts and gave everything he had once for our country to love us as much as we love it. That's what I want.
What are you talking about? I'd die for it.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you want? And that speech he says at the end, that love it as much as we loved it and all that.
Yeah.
How will you live, John? Day by day.
And then you get the credits, and from what I think that end scene it's sung by Frank Stallone.
You got to work his brother in.
Great little nugget in there, but yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
You know, like I said before, I love this film. I grew up with it. I had the Rambo play set with the knife and the bazooka. I even had the Colonel Troutman and the what's her name? What was her name in that? Cat?
I don't even know.
I
only had it was a Rambo machine gun. It said Rambo on it. That's all I ever had. I didn't have any of his action figures, none of that.
Well, a lot of that was tied into, and the cartoon was based off this movie. Yeah. Because they tried, you know, it was a more commercial film. Yeah, of course.
What would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10?
I mean, it's got the nostalgia factor for me, but I've revisited First Blood, and I gotta say, man, that is superior.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't remember if we gave a rating. The first one I give like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
This one I give probably a 6.5, 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Rambo. It is good. This is before you start to really taper off, and we'll get into that when we get into it. But it just seemed like it was one of those big explosive action films. A lot of stuff you really could have left out.
That's what they were, like we just said, the whole commercial aspect to it. You know, it was when the G.I. Joe was popular, again, military stuff. You had He-Man, you had Ghost. So, man, you gotta capitalize on it, man. I'm surprised there wasn't, but it was more of a serious film. That's why you didn't see Rambo cups at McDonald's or something.
I'm surprised you didn't.
But I would say, because I'm in agreement with you on First Blood, I'll give it a solid 9. This, just because of the nostalgia, I got to go 7, 7.5.
I mean, yeah, I know a friend of mine, he was always like, I'm coming again, yeah. You know, I mean, but hey, it is what it is. And then a little side note too, the big Russian, they actually cast Dolph Lundgren to play the Russian. But Stallone had already casted him to be Ivan Drago. So when he showed up on set, he didn't know.
Yeah.
And he's like, wait a minute, he's going to be in Rocky IV. He can't be in this too. So they, I think, paid him salary, and then they had to cast this guy.
Yes, he can.
Yeah, but, you know, maybe it was better anyway.
Well, yeah, Steven Bergov, you had George Chung, you had the whole cast. And Crenna just, I mean, the guy's stand up, man. He's just solid, dude.
There you go.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, check it out.
And we'll do a deep dive into the third one?
Doing the third one.
Okay.
I think we'll go all the way to 4 because I haven't seen Last Blood.
Right.
But yeah, look out for Rambo 3 in the near future.
We gave our hearts, we gave it all. Flame in the fire burns forevermore. Sorrow in believing, honor and truth, raced by us blindly, wrapped around our youth.